named Richard, and today we're going to have a look at Pillars of the Earth. And Ken Follett, it's his book. So he's not the designer, it's somebody called Michael Rieneck and Stefan Stadler. They were responsible. And it's published by Kosmos Games. And I'm going to give you a very quick rundown on the main parts of the game so you understand if it's going to be something you're going to be interested in. And I've just realised that I'm kneeling down and it's really, really difficult for me to get up from here. So I'm just going to collapse on the floor. Bye. One of the nicest elements of the whole game is the fact that this comes apart. And basically you'll start off with, at the end of the first round, only the main body of the Pillars of the Earth. And as the rounds progress, you'll be building up more and more pieces until you reach the final point. But it does look wonderful once it is all created in there for you. Once you've reached the end of the sixth round, then what you'll do is you will total up all of the points that you have gained, and then the person who has the most points is declared the winner. Pillars of the Earth is a worker placement game, so what that means is that as you're playing the game, you're going to be placing your workers in certain spots, and those certain spots are going to allow you to carry out actions which ultimately are going to allow you to score wonderful points up and down the board, go all the way around. Okay, you've got a couple of different types of workers. You've got these little workers, they're quite small and tiny and cute. But you've also got something over here in some kind of bag. But we're not going to tell you what that is yet, because we need to show you. So, let's start off with the first section, which is all about card and craft material selection. So the first stage is all about resources and gaining resources. You have got 7 cards here, and they are basically your main resources. I've got a quarry here. Now this quarry, as you can see up the top left, needs 8 workers in order to make it work, and that will give you 3 stone at the very, very end of the round. There are 6 rounds in total. That is how the game plays. Up here on the right hand side, there's a set of craftsmen numbered, kind of 1, 2, 6, all the way through to 6. And the craftsmen will improve as the rounds go, but obviously will be more expensive. The craftsmen themselves offer certain things as well. For instance, this craftsman costs you 4 gold, but then will convert 2 bits of gravel into 1 victory point. And you can do that 3 times at the end of the scoring part. What we'll do is the players that you're playing with will each take it in turns either to use money from their gold track, because you start with money, or they will commit workers to either the forest, the quarry, or the gravel pit. Now what they'll do is, for instance, if I was wanting to commit my workers and I'm red and I was wanting to commit them to the forest, what I would do is I would take 3 I would take the card, put it down in front of me, take 3 workers, and I'm going to put that at the forest. And that means later on I'm going to be able to claim that resource. Basically, players will take it in turns until you end up passing, and people are no longer afford to play. So the cards will go, money will be paid, workers will be committed. At the end of this point, if you've got any workers left that you haven't been able to commit to resources, you're going to take these workers that you have and you're going to place them up in the wool mill. And what that does is every worker that you've got in there grants you 1 gold when we're reaching that part of the game. You've got 2 styles of workers. The big workers are worth 5, the small workers are just worth 1. So that's worth bearing in mind when you play. As I say, as the rounds go on, the quality of the craftsmen increase. Once everybody has decided on the resources that they're going to be paying for, or the craftsmen that they're bringing in, and you can only have a maximum of 5 craftsmen working for you, then we're going to go to the next thing, and we're going to be bringing in the bag. And the bag is very, very important. And now on to phase 2. Phase 2 is all about blind bidding for the various spaces that are around the board. And they all have different areas, and they have spaces where workers can go and hide. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go into your bag, you're going to draw out a worker, a master craftsman, and that is going to go in the first space where the black marker is. Now there's a cost associated with that, and in this case it's 7. If you wanted to be able to place that first master craftsman, red would pay their 7 accordingly, move them down, and then they would place it in a point on the board where they want. So they might decide actually they are going to go into here, which is some benefit cards at Kingsbridge. It's an advantage card that helps you. Then the black mark will move down. Next time we've got green. Now maybe in this case green decides that actually they don't and they can't afford or don't want to afford to pay the 6 gold pieces in order to claim that piece. What will happen is they will then stay in their mark, and then it will move down to the next one. And then we're going to get 5. We've got a red this time. Red decides this time, well, they've already paid some money, but they want to claim their advantage. So they're going to continue, so that costs them another 5 coins, which takes them down from 13 down to 8. And they then can place their worker on one of the spaces. Now some of the spaces have different advantages over others, and we'll go through them very, very quickly. This continues to move around the track. Now there's actually more workers than there is money, and by the end of it everybody's going to be placed on the board accordingly, like so, and people will pay their dues as they go. And then once all the workers have been played, then we'll move on to the next round. So let's look at the individual board. The next phase is basically when we're going to be going round each of the spaces on the board, and as you can see they're all numbered all the way around. And we're going to go around them in numerical order and very quickly explain to you what's in them. Quest cards are the event cards. Something potentially happens which is going to have an effect on all the players in the game. Okay, that is played. Now, sometimes these are good and sometimes these are not great. The bishop's seat, which is position number 2, that allows the player that has placed their person there in order to kind of circumvent any negative issues that are potentially going to happen. The next stage, which is number 3, is the wool mill, and as we can see, every worker that you have placed in the wool mill is going to grant you 1 gold. Anyone that places their craftsman in the Kingsbridge advantage card section, they get to take 1 or either of the advantage cards. They all have kind of different effects, and some of them will have instant effects and some of them will have ongoing effects, and they can all be beneficial to yourself. You've got then the Priory, which allows you to directly just take victory points. You're either going to have the choice of like 2 victory points or 1 victory point. Then you're going to get round to your resources. You're going to be looking at the forest, the quarry, and the gravel pit. What you're going to happen is if you've taken your workers, that is when basically the cards that you have come into play and you're able to collect basically the resources that you have dedicated your workers to. This is important. The next thing is the King's Court. And the King's Court is where you pay taxes. The first player gets some metal which can be valuably traded in for money. Next up, we have then got the Shining. The Shining allows you to claim, take craftsmen from the pile, and they come from the leftovers from the 6 different types of craftsmen that you get from the round. You've then got the Shiring Castle, and you can take 2 extra of these grey workers for the following round and the following round only. Next up, you've got the resource market. You've got the option to either sell metal, which you can do here, or buy resources that you require. And based on the number of players that you have there, you'll take turns to buy product from there. Then you've got the ability, then everybody trades in their resources into victory points. Now that is based on the craftsman's cards that you've gathered on your turn as you've gone. So as an example here, for every 2 stone under the stone card, for every 2 stone, I'll get 1 victory point. I can do this 4 times. For the woodworker, I can take 2 wood and I can convert it into 1 victory point. And again, I can do that 4 times. But for the mortar mixer, I can take 3 sand or gravel and I can convert that into 1 victory point. Finally, the last track changes the starting player in the game, which is important because they will be the people that will be selecting the resources for the next round. So that's the Pillars of the Earth by Kosmos Games. And my name's Richard, and this is We're Not Wizards. And I'm probably going to be down here the rest of the evening now, I think. And if you like what you've watched, please drop us a subscription and like and comment if you played the game as well. Because it seems to be an oldie but a goodie. Or is that the book? I don't know. Have you read the book? If you've read the book, tell me what you think. And how does it compare to the board game? Because I'm fascinated to know where the tie-in is. But until the next time, stay safe. Roll cathedrals. Roll cathedral. Come here. Do you roll? No. And I've just wrecked my stone. Absolutely gutted. Until the next time, stay safe, roll 6s, make something awful, and goodbye.